Hi, my name's James Wiltshire and I'm one half of UK production and remix team, the FreeMasons, and owner and operator of F9 Audio. Yeah, Russell and I, as the FreeMasons, had about 5 top 20 records, but we were most known for the remixes. And at the point that we were really firing, we were remixing for Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, and we were actually right on the cusp of EDM. And our records were actually being taken and used as the radio edits in replacement of the R&B version. So it was a fascinating time and great to be a part of. Yes, I'm actually working with renowned bass player Guy Pratt on a brilliant disco project that we started. Everyone knows him for touring with Pink Floyd and David Gilmour at the moment, but he is a fantastic disco bass player, one of the only people hired by Bernard Edwards to play bass, which is obviously quite an accolade. Really enjoying that. Also an awful lot of stuff with F9, bringing together as much of this technology as I possibly can, which, as you can see around me, I absolutely love this mixture between the hardware and the software, which is why I've come to love everything to do with Plug-in Alliance. Well, the BX Digital was quite, I still remember what happened. I was in a recording studio in London with a brilliant Japanese drummer called Goti Yashiki. We were doing some down-tempo stuff, and we were with a really good friend who was a great sort of acoustic and classic equipment recording engineer called Michael Zimmerling. And he said, guys, you've got to see this plugin. It's done by some friends of mine in Germany, and you can basically take the mono part of the signal or the stereo part of the signal and EQ them separately. And we're like, well, we have to see this. So suddenly everyone's pouring all over the internet to actually look at it. We downloaded it, and I don't think I've ever bought anything so fast in my life. We were making a chill out album, and to have completely separate control of what was going on in stereo and to be able to widen things up and warm things up in that, to me, that was absolutely groundbreaking. I got a bit of knowledge of mid and side miking technique and mid and side processing, but I'd never seen it before so beautifully put together, really. Yes, it's one of those things that you just know that you can open it up. Now, bearing in mind, I probably was one of the original customers of the original plugin, so it's always just had this, it's been part of my workflow ever since it really was downloaded for the first time. It's never crashed either. I've never known it crash something, which is quite significant these days, I think. But still, every time you want to open something up, open up a backing vocal part, open up a synth part, or open up an entire mix now, it's always the first thing that I particularly tend to go to. And I'm very keen. I've just been on paternity, and for a couple of months I've not updated anything, and I've just seen version 3's knocking about, so quite excited to see what's going on with that. Well, I've always kept a very careful eye on everything that comes out of Plug-in Alliance, because you're talking here about expertly modelled hardware. And when I downloaded the SPL PASEC EQ, I suddenly realised that this was a kind of modelling that was working not just in my workflow, but was able to bring in technology that I would probably never be able to afford, even in terms of space. And the one most recently that brought all of that home is the BX console, because here you're talking about a modelled Neve console, a classic modelled Neve console. And of course there's tons of channel strips out there, and over the years I've got a bit carried away and probably bought far too many of them. So this one I demoed first. I remember it coming down. I was working on a whole series of, I think it was kind of future retro drums that were almost sounds of the old drum machines, but with extended bass parts and things like that. And this is notoriously difficult stuff to get right. And your drums can kind of date a project instantly, so it's really, really important. And I still remember pulling up the BX console for the first time, and the first thing you go for is, right, let's just see what it does to a kick drum, going, right, okay, this is going to be fun. Then you start to work on the mid-range, and then you're at the top. Then you're starting to see how the relationship between the compressor part and the gain circuits of this work. And then before I know it, this thing is totally overloading, but it sounds wonderful. Now that to me is the sign of a great plugin, that when you can start to abuse it, and you don't realise because you're kind of lost in it having so much fun, but you still get the results out at the end of it. Instead of some channel strips you tend to have this fight with almost, that you're trying to get, that you've got a sound in your head and it just takes you so long to get through. So that for me has been a stunning, just a day-to-day thing to just pull up and have fun with. It's simple, but it sounds like the original hardware. The other one that I've just got is the Acme compressor. Now I've literally just come in today and stuck that in and turned the compressor off and started playing with the preamp section. I tell you all now to just, if you've not heard it, go and do that. Don't even worry about the compressor for the moment, go and see what it does, because modern mixing is about controlled distortion effectively. And this thing, if what I've just heard is anything to go by, it's going to be incredibly useful. There's tons of stuff that I could name out that I would like to see modelled, but for me, Plug-in Alliance is now at a point where you've got this core sections of technology and you've got an awful lot of stuff done. I would like to see some of it combined in a plugin that makes all of our lives easier, with just a selection of sliders, with all of these different processes that you've mastered over the years running in parallel, so that the dry signal's always going through it, and then you've just got these faders of opto compression up a little bit, distortion up a little bit more, an additive plugin that you're just constantly making sounds bigger, faster, wider and stronger, because that's really what modern music is all about. I'm constantly making these little parallel chains. I think if you've got some of the Plug-in Alliance algorithms and pulled them all together and made this box that just made everything bigger, I'd be using it every single hour.